Okay, that's how we do it. You hit that button. I got it. I got it. How y'all doing? Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. I have a moderator that's going to be helping me out, so I'm just going to wax until that time. And let me jump in the AMA channel. There he is. No, that's that. No, that's. There we go. All right, we're here
And there
now.
I am. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Should we wait for a little bit until people join in?
Yeah, sure. In the meantime, I'll just read everybody's name. Adam Guy, Bennett AD Bennett ATC, Alpha Lex, Ashy. No. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. Should I refer to you as old time gentleman, or what should I call you?
You can call me Old Time or Sammy, because my real name's Sammy.
I like that, Sammy or
Okay.
old timer. But are you actually an old time gentleman? Like, are you old, or what's your deal?
No, I'm 27.
Oh wow. Well, that's not fair. I'm 33. Can't be telling
Yeah.
yourself that.
Guess everything is relative.
Yeah. So we got
All right.
45 in the audience.
Should we kick it off?
Yeah,
I've
why
got a
not?
great question to start up with. So we've
Hit
got
me.
in total, we've got now 85 questions. Now,
Nice.
here's the first one to start off with. What's your thoughts on pineapple on pizza?
I've been asked this question before, and other questions like, may I have mayonnaise in my ice cream or whatever? And my answer there is, live your life. I think that folks should just eat what makes them happy, and as long as you're not like holding me down and force feeding it to me, then it's this. I have a libertarian view on pineapple on pizza. Live your life, and I'm proud of you.
So it's all right as long as you're not the one eating it.
I mean, honestly, I'll eat it if it's in front of me. I'll eat it, but I'm not going to seek it out. Um, but if you present it to me, I'm gonna house it.
All right.
Well,
So
this
let's.
person with the username Love Oat Milk just asks oat milk, and the answer is yes. I like oat milk. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it is in the server. It's a big war. It's the oat milk people against the cow milk people, and it's
Cow
been
milk
raging on since for 2 weeks now.
time in memoriam. I personally am a fan of oat milk. I'm lactose intolerant, and I just had an oat milk latte not 2 hours ago, and it served me well. And I had it in my breakfast this morning in my cereal. I like oat milk, so
Oh, you heard it here first. The oat milk gang is now Babish approved. All right, so let's start with where did you find the original tiny whisk? Do you remember?
the original Tiny Whisk, I believe, and thank you for calling it the original Tiny Whisk. Most people are laboring under the delusion that there is one and only Tiny Whisk, and only one. And the fact is that those older wire ones rusted if you looked at them the wrong way. They certainly didn't like being put through the dishwasher. I learned that the hard way. So Tiny Whisk has many stunt doubles, and especially now that I'm selling them on, their official Babish Tiny Whisks. I'm trying to, and those ones are dishwasher safe, I will say. But I'm sorry, to answer your actual question.
Very smooth.
God, I told you, if you ask me anything, I'm going to give you a 20-minute answer unless you tell me to shut the hell up. The original Tiny Whisk, I believe, was given to me as a joke by my father, I think. And I think and I can't even remember the first episode that it appeared in. Can somebody in the chat? Can somebody uh, uh, oh, Tiny Whisk's dad is in the chat. Can you tell me um, where I first came across your son, or what episode your son first appeared?
You know what? I don't even have the answer. I'd be very surprised if Tiny Whisk Dad got it first try.
Oh my God! Somebody just put fried green tomatoes in the. Holy shit! Wow, you guys know my show better than I do. Thank you.
All right. So we got a couple of questions which were kind of the same, which is around traveling. So traveling is currently restricted, but if we're looking like forward, do you have any plans on a culinary world tour, or would you go on tour again?
Absolutely. I'm excited to just do some stage events as soon as it becomes. I'm in contact with the Bell House in Brooklyn, which is where I did my book signing when on the book tour in 2019, and I just want to go on stage and just talk to people for an hour and a half and donate the tickets to charity or something, just because I want to see people again. I want to. It's like what we're doing right now. Is a lot of fun, and it's especially fun. It is a huge rush in person, so I'm really excited to go on tour again, do more events, and I'm talking with a huge events company right now. I can't say which one, but I'm talking with one that does, like culinary getaways, like weekends in, say, Austin, Texas, or Nashville, Tennessee, or just, good food towns, and curates, a list of restaurants to go to, can make reservations for you. Hotel and flight is included, and then there's a couple live stage events. It's almost like a mini Babish convention, kind of. And I'm really excited about doing that. I think we're going to try to be we're going to try to doing the first one of those in early 2022.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So, um, do you have? We got that question a couple of times. Do you have a least favorite episode, be it of binging or in basics, or that you shot in general?
My least favorite was probably, and I think I've might have said this somewhere before, which is the only reason I'm comfortable saying it now because I don't want to upset sponsors by what I'm about to say. But this is a matter of public record. Um, it's in my book actually. Now that I think about it, it's the apple pie episode from very early on. It must have been my, I don't know, eighth episode, sixth, seventh episode, something like
Yeah,
that.
very early on.
Only time I've ever tried doing voiceover after smoking. And I can't do that. You can hear that my voice is like a little slow and meandering and listless. And a lot of people tell me like I can't hear it, but that's all I hear when I hear that episode. It's very embarrassing to me. So I don't know why I put it out, but there it is.
Yeah, I didn't hear it the first time, and then I read it in the cookbook, and I rewatched the episode. And when you hear it. When
Yeah,
maybe not the first time, but when you hear it.
it's different. Yeah.
So the chat has already named the Babish tour, and they've called it BabishCon. It's
Well,
like
I appreciate
TumblrCon,
that.
but with tiny whisks.
It freaks me out that something could be called BabishCon, but I'm down. If you guys are cool with it, if you aren't going to feel nauseated by spending money on tickets to something called BabishCon, then just the idea of that is weird to me. But if you guys like it, we can call it that for sure. BabishCon, I like that as well. Um, I saw a question I liked before. Somebody asked me what. Oh, there it is. Do you mind if I answer this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Zane asks, "What mental conditions do you struggle with, and what is your go-to coping methods?" As someone struggling with a bunch of mental issues, but having no one to get tips from would be greatly appreciated. Love you too, bud. I have uh, uh, what's called general anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. These are some of the most common mental health issues in the world, and willing to bet that a lot of us are suffering from it right now, just because that's just the reality. Is that most of us suffer from those issues, and I was really very had them pretty bad to the point where I was suicidal. That I was, I didn't want to get out of bed. I spent 2 weeks in bed, feigning food poisoning because I was so depressed, and I decided to get the help that I needed. And that's really the biggest tip that I can offer is that need to get the help that you need and get, I got put on the medication that I needed to get put on. It's hard. It's like dating. You have to find the right therapist. You have to find the right medication. I just got put on Prestique is my current drug of choice, and it's actually given me a lot of energy recently, and it's making me feel a lot better. So I try to talk about that very openly because it's such a ubiquitous problem and something that is horrendously undiagnosed and undertreated. And so I just try to talk about it as openly as possible. Anyway, just wanted to hit that real quick.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. I think that's gonna resonate with a lot of people here.
Also,
Um,
the one of the mods, Paprika, just said something lovely while we're serious. But for anyone with mental illness, just know that you'll get through this. Shit gets tough, but don't quit. And that truer words have never been said. Everything is temporary. Anyway, go ahead.
that's all right. I'm only here to read off the questions. You can go on any tangent you'd like. Um, okay, so while we're on the subject of very deep things, let's talk about tattoos. So you've got a bunch of tattoos. We got a couple questions. Which tattoos do you have? Can we have their meanings, or which kind of new tattoos since the one we've seen have you gotten? Do you want to talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God, what's the most recent tattoo that I've gotten? The most recent tattoo that I got was my neck tattoo. Um, I last I counted, I have 13 or 14. I can't remember. Hang on, I can count them right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14. I have 14. Obviously don't want to go through all of those because we'll be here all night. But my most recent tattoo was my neck tattoo, which is it's basically an image from a poster for the musical, well, experimental, experiential musical Einstein on the Beach by Philip Glass. It is one of the most difficult things to sit through in the known universe. It is damn near 5 hours long. At the beginning of the show, they tell you you can come and go as you like. You don't have to stay for this whole thing. And I've never seen a musical or a stage performance of any kind say that. And at times it is grating and unlistenable. But then there are also just these absolute moments of absolute brilliance in this. It's intentional, by the way. They meant to make it sound unlistenable. It's a lot of math music and very strange experimental shit. And it ends with the most beautiful, haunting violin piece with this man with this booming voice just talking about two lovers on a park bench. And almost without fault, it makes me cry. Not fault, without fail, it makes me cry. Whenever I listen to it. And so, like I said before, everything is temporary. And that's Jess and I both wanted to get tattoos that denoted things being temporary. She got an audio waveform of the ending of the one of her favorite song, Claire de Lune, as a reminder that all things come to an end, good and bad. And I got this as, like all things come to an end, even 5 hour long experimental operas and sometimes they end quite beautifully. Sometimes you sit through 5 hours of absolute horseshit, and I'm not calling it horseshit, but it is very hard to listen to sometimes. And sometimes it culminates in something gorgeous, or vice versa. So that's what that tattoo denotes.
That's cool. So you do actually sit through the 5 hours. You're not one to come and go as you please.
No, I've done it. I've done it once, and I'm sure not going to do it again. I had to do it in pieces too. I didn't do it straight. I'm talking about watching a video of it because I couldn't handle it in person. It's if you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. They experiment a lot with phase music, meaning just like different tempos of different instruments playing at the same time, so that they sort of intermingle and line up and then come apart and realign, and it's very, very strange, very beautiful. But anyway, that's the neck tat.
Yeah. Someone commented, I think Einstein on the Beach seems like something Fantana would rate. I think that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, you have to listen to it to give it a listen. Listen to the last track after listening to just a couple random tracks or something, and then listen to the very last track. It's called Knee Play 5. Knee as in the thing that's between your shin and your thigh, and play as in press play, and 5 as in the number 5.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let's go to so let me do a smooth transition. We've talked about things being like ending, everything's temporary. Let's go back to the beginning. Do you have like a a Miles Morales leap of faith moment, something like your origin story, a point at your life where you're like, okay, it's got to be now. I've got to start this. Between kind of the idea of I'd like to do this channel, and the moment where you're like, okay, I'm sitting down with the camera and I'm filming this.
Is it okay if that moment is not show related?
Yeah, I think that's maybe better.
So I'm sorry if I rehash things that are in my book, but probably one of the biggest leap of faith moments that I had to take was getting a divorce. I was married, and I tried to not talk about it too much out of respect for her privacy, but it was somebody that I was with for 13 years since high school, and it was just one of those things where it was like, oh, it's about time we get married, not like motivated by the correct reasons. And I as I explained in the book, I went to my therapist after having eaten psychedelic mushrooms. I don't know if it's okay that I'm talking about this, but it's in the book. Whatever.
I don't know either, but I'm not one to judge. So
yeah, no, that's fine.
Talk about it.
I don't expect anybody to agree with it. It's not something I am recommending that anybody do. But it's what I did, and it literally I told her that it was over that week. That's how profound of an experience it was, and I had to really take a leap of faith that I could make it on my own. Because like I said, I was with this person for 13 years. I had no idea if I could survive as a single person. I had no idea what life was like as a single person, and I had to take a big leap of faith there. And sometimes life dictates that you burn everything down and start anew, not literally, but figuratively.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, we've got a good question in the chat, which is, will there be more Bedtime with Babish episodes? I feel like that was something you did when the channel was much smaller, and then it just, yeah.
I would love to. So the reason that I haven't done Bedtime with Babish in a long time is because I need to use public domain works that I can't read from copyrighted material. And anything that's in the public domain, generally speaking, is at least, I think it's 75 years old is the statute of limitations. And books were written very differently 75 years or 75 plus years ago, literally any time before the past 20 30 years. Books were written very differently, and I don't have the best like when I was a kid in school and I was the one called on to read chapter 4 for the class, it was a fucking nightmare. I would always stumble over my words, and when you're doing something like reading an audiobook, you don't want any stumbles or missteps in there. So reading these very old works that are written with a different meter and a different what's the word I'm looking for? A different cadence, and there aren't commas where you expect them to be in the word. It's very difficult for me to read and not flub up a million times. And I ended up getting very frustrated, and that's why I stopped. I would really love to start just reading recipes from the Binging with Babish cookbook, and as soon as I get permission from my publisher, that's what I'd very much love to. Since people are just using it to go to sleep anyway, just me reading recipes, I think that would work just fine.
Yeah, I'll just put on any episode. It works as Bedtime with Babish, apparently. All right. Let's go for a smaller question. Much simpler question, but very important nonetheless. Where's the best bagel in NYC? And the question specifically asks, I want a Manhattan spot and a Brooklyn spot, please.
Oh, what a monster asked this question. Are you trying to get me killed out here? So in Brooklyn, the best bagel that I've ever had was, and I think it was just a good batch because I've been back and I don't remember. I don't think it was as good as the first time I went. Williamsburg Bagel, and I know that sounds, kind of simple, but it was perfectly crunchy on the outside, chewy on the inside, perfect bagel. And then in Manhattan, I really liked Essa Bagel. That's where I think Christina Tosi or somebody said that their favorite bagel was at, and it made them always have a line around the block every day. But they're genuinely great, and the toppings are really where it's at more than the bagel itself. Like the bagel's a little too soft for my taste, but they crush it with the toppings. But also, I mean, in Manhattan, if I were gonna choose a last meal bagel, I'd probably go to what's called Russ and Daughters. They have the most fantastic smears and toppings and really great bagels as well.
Right. Your answer is recorded, and your words will be used against you by New Yorkers, I'm sure.
It was nice knowing you guys.
Yeah, I'm from Europe, so I've got no horse in the game. I'm just here for the drama. Let's go with what's your favorite meal to impress? Like, have you ever cooked for your in-laws? What did you cook?
I just cooked for my in-laws, in fact. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see, I just made a post today about gluten-free pasta, but the two posts before that where I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt and where I got some steaks on the Barbie with some ribs is just from this past weekend. We were there visiting Jess's parents, my future in-laws, or my current in-laws, depending on how legal Joel McHale's wedding ceremony was. They both turned 60 within a week or two of each other, so we went out there to celebrate, threw them a surprise luau, and I made, oh man, everything came out perfect. I've never felt more proud of myself after a meal than that meal. For appetizers, I made smoked wings with classic buffalo sauce on one side, and then another batch with a Korean gochujang sesame sauce that was just killer. With and when I went to the farmers market, they had garlic scapes, which I love. Scapes, they're so good. If you're not familiar with scapes, they're just these long, tough, wiry vegetables that are related to garlic, I think, and they're really like tough and vegetal until I charred them on the grill. I put some really nice deep char on them, and they get really soft and mellow and nutty, and they're so good. And I chopped those up and put those on top of the Korean wings. And then for the main course, I did New York strips. I did like 10 New York strip steaks that I just carved all of them up table side, and on half of them I put like a compound butter with garlic and herbs, and the other half I did a sun-dried tomato romesco sauce, one of my favorite from America's Test Kitchen. It's amazing all-purpose sauce. My favorite potato salad, pretty simple but really, really good. Light on the mayo, heavy on the sour cream. What else was there? There was a grilled pineapple poblano and shrimp ceviche that was just nuts. It was so good. Like grilled pineapple. There's like, I might not be crazy about pineapple on pizza, but there's definitely a market for hot pineapple, because like grilled pineapple with poblanos is one of my favorite food combinations. And throw some shrimp in there, some lime juice, and some cumin. You're cooking with gas, brother. And what else? Jess made dessert. She made their birthday cake. She made just a funfetti layered tiered. Their favorite is fun, just sprinkles and classic birthday cake. And then I tried to make ribs, and those ribs took 11 hours. I've never had ribs take more than 4 hours on my watch, and they took 11 hours to come up to temp. And I was like, am I destroying these ribs right now? But then it was. They were supposed to be done at 5. They were done at like 9, and we had all had some drinks and some smokes and whatever, and it was a perfect late night snack. It was great.
So in a way, they came at the right time, weirdly enough.
Exactly. Sometimes things just work out like that. Often they don't, but sometimes they do. Yeah,
I'm sure it was a good way to, get forgiveness for getting married without them being there.
Yeah. I saw somebody ask about my nails, and I just want to touch on that, because apparently everybody was asking about my nails during the live stream uh,
Oh yeah, and the subreddit
last
went
week.
crazy.
Yeah. And the truth is that when I was out in LA, I got a manicure. I get manicures from time to time. My hands are on camera. And I just, for funsies, just asked them to put this like metallic green nail polish on it. And I really liked it. And I just really like the way it looks and feels. I just really enjoy it. I know some people are grossed out by like nail polish and food because it's a food safety hazard or whatever. And you don't want to see polished nails digging into a steak or whatever. I understand that. So it's not going to be on the channel all the time, but rest assured, on my weekends, probably right after this, I'm gonna probably go paint these suckers.
That's awesome. There's a question that came up in the chat that I've been meaning to ask as well. It's from Triple P. Junior, who asks, "Is there a small YouTube channel that you recently discovered that caught your eye?"
Man, that's a good question. Who did I define small?
Let's say maybe 8 million subscribers or less.
You sly son of a bitch. I I I wouldn't call him small. He's got several 100,000 subscribers. And lots of I think a lot we have a lot of crossover fans. I bet that you've heard of him. His name is Josh Weissman. I'm kidding. Josh is like genuinely giving me a run for my money in terms of like the biggest food YouTuber
Yeah,
in general.
he's really coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's doing great. I'm really proud of him too. Like he's one of the few YouTubers that I know that independently owns his channel. And so I'm just so excited. It feels like I'm watching myself from like 4 years ago. So or 3 years ago. No, he's up to 4 million subscribers. Feels like I'm watching myself from last year. Um, and anyway, the person that I wanted to mention was Ethan, and I don't know how to say his last name. Ethan Klabowski, I think it is.
Yeah.
He
I don't
he
know
he
either, but yeah.
I don't know how to say it, and that's embarrassing because I've had a couple Zoom meetings with him, and he's like the nicest guy. And also totally independent YouTube channel. He just makes everything himself. He edits it himself, and I just have so much respect for that. And he has the skills to pay the bills. Put a lot of emphasis on production acumen and aesthetic, and it sometimes covers for the fact that I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time. But this guy really knows what he's doing, and I really respect him for it. And I'm looking forward to doing something with him in the near future.
Yeah. I tried his chicken that he does with a yogurt marinade on the plancha, and it's incredible.
Yogurt marinades are a game changer because
Yeah, they really are.
the yogurt browns up so beautifully. I never would have guessed, but like it puts such a gorgeous crust on chicken. It makes skin sing.
Yeah. And you leave it overnight and it just changes the taste completely.
And also, sorry, I have to. If we're talking about smaller YouTube channels, and he's not small because he's growing like mad, but got to give shout out to Ordinary Sausage because people will kill me if I don't. He's successfully weaponized his viewership against me. I'm kidding. No, we've actually talked. His crew and I, we've talked. He's like they're all the sweetest people, and we're gonna do something soon. It's just got to be the right concept. But the most upcoming collaboration that I can think of is probably Josh Weissman, which we're gonna do a collab on the channel. We're gonna do I think we're gonna do a pizza cook-off to see who can make a better pizza. It's the only thing I would ever challenge him in because I make good pizza now. I'm not gonna even hold back on
Yeah.
the fuck out of myself on the back, but I make good pizza now, and I know he makes great pizza too, and it's the only thing where I feel like okay, maybe I can hold my own here.
He's
But
probably going to mill the flour from scratch to make the dough.
yeah, God, he's a prick like that. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I love him. I'm so proud of him, and I'm very excited. So not only are we collaborating on the channel, he's coming over for my July 4th housewarming party, so we're gonna collaborate on hanging out.
It's also a good way to collaborate.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of just people in general, there was a question on how did you meet Jon Favreau? Because obviously you got to meet him for the show. How did that happen? Is there like a story behind it?
I mean, John. So when I met him, John told, and I talk about him. I call him John, so it sounds like he's
Yeah,
one of
I
my best
think you
friends.
are
But
at that level. Yeah, totally.
I don't call him Mr. Favreau to his face. That'd be weird. There's this weird inclination when you meet celebrities to call them by their full name. Like when I met Joel McHale, I was like, I almost said, "Hey, thanks for coming out, Joel McHale." And what a weird way for somebody to refer to you. If somebody came up to me on the street and they're like, "Hey, Andrew Ray," I'd be like, "Hi, person."
Yeah,
It's we all have it. We all have this instinct to call celebrities by their full names. Um, I don't know where it comes from, but anyway, I almost did that with everybody that I've ever met. But for the same reason that anybody else would. But John, he knows about me because of his kids, just like any celebrity I've ever met, except Maisie Williams because she's young and she knows what YouTube is. Uh, um, John was sat down and forced to watch my show by his kids, uh, and they were like, "Look, he's making food from your movies," and he enjoyed it and tweeted at me a couple times. Like when I hit 1 million subscribers, he tweeted congratulations at me. So I got on the
yeah,
horn with my manager and said, "Hey, can you reach out just see if he would even just grab a beer, or come on the show or anything?" And that day, his team reached out and they were like, "We're making a show," which turned out to be Chef's Show. At the time, it didn't have a name, or it wasn't necessarily going to be on Netflix. It was just something he was making out of sheer passion. And he was like, come on my show, I'll come on yours. And God, he's the nicest guy on earth. That's something that was cut out of the Joel McHale interview because they're friends, John and Joel. And I was like, "Hey, John says hi," and Joel was like, "Ah, John Favreau. Now there's a real piece of work. Hates food, bad at making movies, mean guy." Because Joel's a sarcastic guy, so he was just saying like he's the nicest guy in the world, makes amazing movies, and he loves
yeah,
food.
totally.
So he's a great guy to kick it with, and a great story that I'm sorry, real quick, and then we'll move on. But uh, on my book tour in 2019, when I stopped in LA, I asked if I could drop off. Since he wrote the foreword to my book, I asked if I could drop off
Copy.
a gift, a thank you gift. I had a knife made for him, and he said, "Yeah, come by the office." And I went to the office. The office was the Mandalorian production set,
No
and
way.
I went and saw the Baby Yoda before it was public knowledge.
Before it became the Baby Yoda.
Yeah, so I was my brain was exploding, dying to tell somebody, but Disney would have squashed me under their boot if I had if I had said to anybody. So I didn't say it. I didn't say a word, John. I kept it to myself. But I. I thought, oh, okay, they must be shooting B footage or something. I'm walking through the studio and there's this spaceship cockpit that's getting jostled around with the Baby Yoda in the lap of the Mandalorian. I was like, oh, cool. They're shooting, the B unit is shooting stuff. And, dude takes off his helmet and it's Pedro Pascal. And I'm like, oh my God, this is real. So
Yeah,
it was a wild, wild, wild day. And he's been one of the kindest and most encouraging people that I've ever met in my life. He's a
that's
very sweet
awesome.
guy.
It makes dropping off the knife a lot more worth it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it was worth it to begin with, but
Yeah,
then he was
exactly.
like, "Hey, I know you're kind of a nerd about cameras and movies and Star Wars. Here's every dream of yours coming true."
Yeah, I get that a lot from the staff who worked on Star Wars. It's just you're such a fan of it from, being a young kid and then suddenly you're on the set. It must be
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean it was absolutely wild to be walking through these sets. Like they built the uh, uh, I can't remember the name of the planet that the show starts on, the one where Carl Weathers lives. Whatever. But they built all these big, beautiful sets, and everybody was in beautiful costume. And Carl Weathers was there, and he couldn't remember his line to save his life, and it was magic.
Everything you dreamed it to be. All right, so I've got another question. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of an angry cooker where I tend to get food out through pure rage. So there's a question that came up that's what's the most infuriating thing you've ever cooked?
Oh, definitely hand pulled noodles, which I did for the Kung Fu Panda secret ingredient soup. I was like, well, this is when I have to make hand pulled noodles, and there's the episode opens with a shot of me banging my head against the counter, and that wasn't for you guys. I was legit doing that because I was like, why am I doing this to my weekend? And the cameras were just rolling, and I saw it when I was editing it together. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave that in there. Uh,
It
and
illustrates the whole day, kind of.
no, I mean, honestly, cooking can be very, very, very frustrating, just like life, you know. And it's the anger can definitely be a good tool to harness and use as a means to an end. But food born of love it tastes better. I swear to God, and it's very, very, very hard to try and not get angry when you might be screwing things up, you might be burning things, you might be a million things might be happening, you might be stressed out, and it's very hard not to get swept up in all that. And I still do 80-90% of the time, but that 10% when I'm happy and when I'm in a flow state and when I'm in the zone, that's what it's all about, and that's what I constantly strive for. And
Yeah.
but the answer to your question is those fucking hand pulled noodles. Those I needed that dough hours over multiple days just to try and get that like bubblegum like consistency, and I still couldn't make it. Um, and right now, guys, right now, I'm contending with something that's giving me a devil of a time trying to figure it out, which is um, meat. Wait, sorry, meat Getty and spag balls from American Dad, which is spaghetti, meat shaped like spaghetti, and
Oh
spaghetti
yeah,
shaped like meatballs. And I got the spaghetti shaped like meatballs down pat, but it is very hard to coax meat into the form factor of spaghetti. I'll be the first to tell you. Um,
that
but
started a whole debate on the subreddit because someone said you should make it, and then in the comments were a bunch of cooks trying to like brainstorm together how they could make meat Getty.
well, I will say that I think I found the solution. It involves a lot of molecular gastronomy, but Chef Steps has a method for making noodles out of chicken. You have to use triphosphate poly something and some other chemical compound that I've never heard of before that I had to order on Amazon, and it's getting here tomorrow. And I'm gonna try to make some noodles out of ground beef, and we'll see if it works.
It's one of those times where you wish you would have Jake Kenji Lopez alt as like a joker
Ex-
when you're stuck.
exactly.
All right, so let's talk about something that we're both passionate about that's not exactly food, and that's watches. So someone asked, what will be your next watch?
Hell yeah, brother. I love watches. I never thought I'd get into it. Sawyer, those of you, Sawyer's hanging out in here somewhere. He's lurking in the comments. I know he's listening to me right now. What's up, dude? I'll see you at dinner in 45 minutes, bro. um, so, Sawyer and his wife just had a baby, and we are going out. I think this is their first time going out to a restaurant since the baby came, and we're taking the baby with us, and I'm very excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's literally, I'm gonna change my shirt and run out the door as soon as we're done here. That's my plan for the evening. But
All right.
what was the question? Oh yeah, the watches. Sawyer. See, I told you, I just go off on tangents.
Yeah,
Sawyer
no worries.
got me into watches. He has a two-tone Submariner that his grandfather gave him, and it's beautiful, beautiful watch. And I never thought that I would be into something that could be so expensive that does something so basic as tell the time. But then you try one on, you're like, this is something different. This is something special. And I know you're a watch head too. Before the AMA here, you told me you got the same watch as me. We got Sea Dwellers, and
Yeah.
that's a beautiful watch. I love that watch because it's a sleeper. You think it's a sub, but then you get closer and you're like, oh, okay, this is rated for a deeper dive depth and has a helium escape valve, and it was made very limited quantities by
Yeah.
Rolex. There's it's almost like why people get into sports. Like you get into the lore of it, the drama and
Exactly. The
the
history. Yeah.
history.
Totally.
Exactly. And I'm not into sports, so this is watches are my sports. Um,
Yeah.
and
And it's
yeah,
John Mayer who said like you wear watches not because you think you're that guy that wears Rolex, but in a way you kind of put on a character. Like you put the nice watch on and suddenly you kind of play yourself to be one of those people. I think that's
yeah. I
what
mean,
kind of draws me to it.
I'm wearing my Daytona today because wearing a gold watch makes me feel like, I got makes me feel like a big mob boss, and it gives me confidence when I'm doing interviews like this. That's the watch I wore on Hot Ones because I was like, okay, I got to bring it.
Yeah,
I'm sitting
you
across from
need
Sean
confidence
Evans.
for that.
Yeah. But next watch, I'm honestly not sure. I just got one of my dream watches. I got a Batman or a Batgirl GMT, which is the GMT Master blue and
Yeah, with the
black
two-tone
two-tone
dial. Yeah.
with the Jubilee bracelet, and it's I've been wearing it in a lot of recent episodes because it's my favorite daily wear now. It used to be the Sea Dweller, but now I'm crazy about that thing. But I go through phases. It's like anything else. I'll listen to the same album 50 times over and then be like, I'm gonna listen to
Yeah.
something else now. But anyway, I'm not sure what the next one is. I think that probably a yacht master or maybe a stainless Daytona is missing from the collection. I feel
But
like that would
definitely
be
a
the
Rolex. You're staying a Rolex head.
yeah. I'm a Rolly boy. I don't know what to tell you. I've obviously tried on other watches and I love other watches on other people. I just don't like them as much on me. I've tried on I think the Speedmaster, the Moonwatch is one of the
Yeah.
all-time great watches, but I put them on and I'm like, this doesn't get my dick hard. I'm
It's
sorry. Sorry to
it
get
got an
gross with it.
effect, but not the effect I want.
Yeah. Are there kids in here? Should I not be cursing and talking about shit
Um,
like that? I'm sorry.
sure.
Okay, I'm sorry that
I
I
don't
just
really
said
think
that.
there's any rules, to be honest.
Okay, well, I apologize to anybody who had just had to hear that, but there you go. It doesn't make me excited. Um, so, anyway, next question. So, go ahead.
Switch it up. We weren't briefed on what we could or couldn't say, so I just took it as a rule that anything goes. So what's your most unpopular food opinion?
Uh, my most unpopular food opinion is probably my vehement dislike of cilantro, and that's not something I'm quiet about because it's a genetic thing. It's not like I'm a picky eater. It's that my genes tell me this tastes like. Some people say soap. I say a tire fire. It tastes like burning chemicals to me. It doesn't taste real to me. Um, and I am most annoyed by it, and I'm gonna have a real hard time when I finally get to go see Southeast Asia. I'm gonna have to learn.
Yeah,
I've been dreaming for years of bouncing around between Bangkok and Vietnam and Ho
Thailand.
Chi Minh City in Thailand,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna have to learn how to say no cilantro, please, in many different languages.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't really understand how bad it was until the episode of Stum Sola where she makes the cilantro Kit Kat bar. And just the reaction just makes you understand like the deep hatred for cilantro.
Yeah, and she went the extra mile with that because she didn't use dried cilantro. She like dehydrated fresh cilantro because dried coriander doesn't bother me as much. So she
It's
went,
not too bad, yes, but
yeah. So she went the extra mile on that, and I applaud her. But yeah, no, and that's why I have a tattoo of it on my arm. That's one of my 14 tattoos. is a big. It's one of my biggest tattoos too. Is of cilantro. It's because it's my sort of mortal enemy. I used to hate all seafood, but I taught myself to love it. Like 7, 8 years ago, and I can't ever do that with cilantro. It's the mountain I can never climb. So that's why I got a tattoo of it.
Yeah, you're keeping your enemies closer.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was a question that I saw come by a couple times, but I'm not finding the person who asked it now. But it was how? Oh, there it is from Janae, who says, relating to the earlier question that we had on, what kind of kicked off you doing this show. What gave you the inspiration to make the videos the way you do? Like the angle, the soft talking, the way that we don't see your face, the idea around movie foods. Like, yeah, what kind of made it all come together more from like a video perspective, I'd say, like more like all the details of how you film?
Well, I mean, just experimenting. I made a little short that I really should make public on my channel, which was I basically just set up my camera in my kitchen and made a smoothie out of anything that would blend together in the fridge, and called it a food smoothie, and which was accurate. And it shot at the classic sort of Babish angle, and I did that not to remain anonymous or anything, but just so the focus was on the food. And also, it was a way that I could shoot food videos autonomously. That angle in particular it requires really no other camera angles. I don't like. I have other angles in basics with Davish,
Yeah.
but binging remains one camera, and it's something that I have control over. But it clearly illustrates what's going on. You don't need top down. You don't need, the super close up at a 45-degree angle or whatever. It's
Yeah.
illustrative, it's cinematic, and it puts the focus on the food. So I kind of lucked into it. I just sort of set up a camera and there it was. But now it's become a defining part of the brand.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, first, before I go on, do you have a time when you have to go? Because you said you had to go for dinner. Because I don't know how
I,
long you can keep this going.
I mean, Jake, are you in the audience? Sawyer, speak up. No, our reservations are like 30 minutes after. Is at like 7:30? It's 6:50 now, my time. So,
Okay.
it's not like a super hard out at 7, but I should probably be done by like 7:05,
Yeah,
7:10 at the
sounds good.
latest.
Okay. So you've done a couple of videos now, kind of demonstrating the gadgets in your kitchen that you find really interesting that are maybe overlooked, like the thermometer, kosher salt, just in general. But let's flip that around. What's the worst kitchen gadget you've ever had in your kitchen, and why?
What's the worst kitchen gadget? I'll go ahead and say that a KitchenAid food processor. Um, at least the model that I had, because I have a Cuisinart food processor, and that's, if you ask me, that's the best one in the market. The Cuisinart 14 cup custom is a long-standing reigning champion because it has instant power. As soon as you hit go, it is at full power. There's no mussing or fussing. And the KitchenAid food processor that I had, if you go, actually, let's check Amazon. I've written a lot of reviews on Amazon, like just under the radar, and also well
Okay.
before the channel took off. I wonder if my KitchenAid, I'm pulling it up now. I wonder if my KitchenAid food processor
Just an
review
angry,
is
like,
still up there.
couldn't blend something, so you had to go on the Amazon review
Oh no,
side.
it's furious. Let me see if I do want to read it for you. So even if I don't think it's live anymore because it was on an old. Maybe their new food processors are great. I don't know, but I'm gonna pull up my I'm gonna pull up my reviews and I can read it for you.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's a
how do I
food
do that?
processor, because to me, KitchenAid is the brand that makes stand mixers, which are
Exactly.
really good.
KitchenAid they make the stand mixer. Like there are there are other stand mixers out there, but the KitchenAid stand mixer is timeless. It is a tank. I still have the KitchenAid that I use on the show. The black one is the oldest object that I own. I think I've had it for 11 years.
That's really cool.
I mean, it's a tank, and sometimes it starts smelling like old 1950s machinery, like solid state electronics.
Yes.
But it still keeps cranking. I can't kill it. I won't. I don't even know how to pull up my reviews, and I'm starting to become concerned that this is going to take too long. So I'm just gonna say
in the
that
background. We'll move. If you find it, you find it. If not,
yeah,
sorry.
it's out there somewhere. Look for a review by somebody named Andrew. It's probably me.
It's like when I learned that PewDiePie is a huge Yelper. It's like you can imagine this huge YouTuber just coming home one night to just write down a bunch of paragraphs on Yelp on the latest restaurant he's been in. Okay, I've got a good question. It's just, there's no context to this. The question just states, what should I name my new dog?
You should name your new dog Fluffers. I'm kidding. You should name your new dog. You know what? You know what? Okay, I'm gonna give you my ultimate dog name. That I've been saving for myself. But we have 3 cats now, so we're not gonna get a dog. So you can have it. Who asked this? Is there a
there's no name, there's no breed of the dog. It just states, what should I name my new dog?
All right. Well, I've got it for you. That name, first off, just to preface it, it's a Seinfeld reference. It's a deep cut Seinfeld reference. I like deep cut references. That's where the name Oliver Babish comes from. So that name is Watley. So not only is that a great name for a dog, Watley, like that's perfect.
Yeah, it's very callable. Like at the park.
It's very callable. It sounds like kind of scruffy and scrappy and like Watley. It just sounds like a little mutt of a dog that's just lovable and messy, but whatever. And the reference, I'm looking at the comments right now to see if anybody's getting that Watley.
So far, I don't think anyone has. No.
All right. Well, I honestly. Oh shit! I just hit my head. Ow!
Very big thump.
Oh no! Ooh, Jesus! I really nailed my head. Oh, this is a first. Sorry, folks. Ooh, okay. I dropped my glasses. I went down to get them. Nailed my head on the desk. Okay, we're back. Luna Grave just got it, and so did Sam. Oh my God, everybody's getting it right now. Yes, Dr. Tim Watley. And that's what you'd call the dog when you're mad at him or her is
Tim Watley.
Let's say
Tim Watley.
Yeah, Dr. Tim, like say you came home and the garbage was tipped over and there's garbage everywhere. You'd say, "Who did this? Come here, Watley. Dr. Tim Watley, come here right now. Did you make this mess?" And that's what I've been fantasizing about for years, but we're not going to get a dog, so you can have that. It's yours.
Yeah. That whole exchange was very believable. I think you would have had a career in the kind of 60s radio show vibe.
Exactly.
So what's some of your favorite go-to recipes to use when you're hungry, but you have a short amount of time?
Oh, tricky. I mean, pasta's generally the way to go. That's the 15-minute meal. If I'm trying to be a little healthier, I tend to keep a lot of cooked chicken around, just so I can throw it into some pasta or into a salad or something like that. Sawyer, if Sawyer's listening right now, I'm coming with some more frozen meals for you. The contents of which are leftovers from when I was on The View earlier this week, and they wanted to make enchiladas, and I had to have doubles of everything because that's how TV works. You have to have swaps because they only give you 5-6 minutes, so you're like, here's right before you put it in the oven, and here it is done. So we had two of everything, and I couldn't eat it all. So you're getting a big old plate of enchiladas, and I had a lot of extra cheese sauce. So I made a quick mac and cheese. I had some cooked chicken, put some chicken in there. Let's come over to your house in T minus 30 minutes.
I'm looking through the chat. If you guys have any questions in the chat, I think you can post them now. Or else, I've got a good question because I'm a huge fan of Cajun cooking. I really loved your Cajun food episode, and someone just asked, when will there be a new Crawfish episode?
Oh, it's very soon because there's Crawfish make an appearance in Cavalcon and the Winter Soldier at the cookout with Sam's family, and I actually reached out to Anthony Mackie to see if he would come on the show, but he lives in New Orleans, and I needed to shoot it. I wanted to do it for the 9 million subscriber special. Oh God, I hope that Joel never hears that I was like, I tried to get Anthony Mack. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, it's not recorded. No one heard it.
Yeah, no. So Anthony Mackie, I wanted to have him out to do that for the 9 million subscriber special, but he wasn't available. But I'm still gonna do it because I love crawfish boils, so I'm gonna do that. I wouldn't mind just reading these questions and just rapid firing them.
Yeah, go ahead. Here. Yeah, for sure.
I need to know what games Babish plays. Steve 1150 asks, I'm going to be playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in exactly 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 hours. Awesome Shark 789. Do you have any big collabs coming up? Joshua Weissman's coming on the channel, and I've got some surprise ones coming. Con Air, Italian style pizza or American style pizza? Yes. Ben Klauser, if you could choose any person in the world to do a collab with, who would you choose? It's a good question. No, I said I was gonna burn through this,
it's a good rapid fire question when it has you stop in your tracks.
Yeah, no, that just completely froze me. Just because if I could choose anyone to collab with, well, actually, you know what? We're going to be doing something soon. Is Kenji Lopez Alt, my food hero, and we've been texting recently. We actually have a call tomorrow to talk about what we're going to do. So that's coming soon. Now that you've had Joel McHale on the show, what are the odds of getting Chevy Chase on the 420 million subscriber special? Sam Isdat is a very, very funny person. Sheedyism. Andrew, have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? Once in college, and I would love to experiment more, just like most things from college. STVR man, Starver man, Stuver man. I don't know. If you didn't go for YouTube, but still wanted to pursue a career in culinary arts, would you have gone to culinary school? If so, would you have gone to one of the top country schools or just to a cheaper local one? Honestly, I don't know. That's a tricky question. Culinary school, I feel like, is for people who, really want to get into a great restaurant and be taken seriously right off the bat. I mean, Kendall Beach, our kitchen producer, she is a recent CIA grad, and it shows. She really knows her stuff and her food chemistry. And I don't get into that side of cooking as much as I'd like to. I just like to make things that I enjoy and just sort of feel things out. So I maybe I would have gone to a cheaper local one or just tried to bootstrap it at my favorite restaurant or something. Paprika asks, favorite firearm and why? In a video game or in real life? In real life, my dad, when I was growing up, had a pistol called the Contender, I think it was called, and it was a single shot 223 pistol, and it was a break action, like it was a pirate gun, and it was the coolest thing in the world to me. How is Buckwheat doing? Asks Summer Sweet. Buckwheat's doing great. Bucky's the cuddliest of all the cats in the house, and she's the most playful and crazy of the cats in the house. But she's doing great. Jack the Lad, I will ask again if I can. What are your top 3 cocktails? The Tiki world is dying to know. Tiki world, as in Tiki cocktails? I do love a Mai Tai, but my top 3 cocktails have to be a really great dry martini, an old fashioned, and a something lighter, a gin and tonic. Honestly, I know that they're classic, but this is rapid fire. If I had more time to think about it, I'd tell you something cooler. Al says pasta in a British accent. Pasta. Meb9202 favorite Seinfeld episode is, I think it's called The Setup. When Jerry and Elaine try to set up George and one of Elaine's friends, and there's this one scene where Jerry and George are talking about the prospective date girl and their conversation. I would love to do it as like a stage play, because their conversation and their body language and the physical humor and the timing of everything is gorgeous. Is one of my favorite things. Geico asks, when am I going to sponsor you? I've actually done a video with Geico. If you type in Babish Geico, you'll see the dinner party video that we did. Hot dog water, least favorite food, probably hot dog water. I'm kidding. Least favorite food's got to be cilantro. Let's see. King size ultra Krabby Patty Supreme. Favorite Viet food. I need to know if I have to be disappointed with you. I'm going to be basic and say pho. I had pho for dinner last night. It was amazing. Sayke says, do the Arthur Morgan voice. You're all right, girl. There you go. Cooking in the bedroom. When is the wedding happening? It's kind of already happened, sort of, but the actual wedding, it's going to be, I think we're going to try to do it a year to the day from when the fake wedding happened, or the fake-ish wedding happened. Lebegetz said, what would you want your last meal to be? Big old steak, maybe some like packaged ramen too. That's my weakness. Text 777. Hardest part in making Galaxy cake was every part of it. Probably the mirror glaze, because he had to keep everything at such a specific temperature. Okay, now I'm just going to skip to the bottom and do 3 more. How about 3? Babish, do you like licorice? Asked Julie. Yes, I'll eat licorice, but I don't seek it out. Kind of like pineapple on pizza. Let's see. Saltwater. Babish, would you eat a Swedish fish? Yeah, I'll eat Swedish fish. I'll skip that one. That was too easy. Tashi says, damn it, I'm not going down and pick that up. I'm not picking that up. No, sir. I learned my lesson. Liege asked, who's a mod here. Thank you for modding, Liege. Or Liege, or how do you pronounce that? We get into video game live streaming. I'd love to. If you guys want to see me play video games, I'm terrible at them, but I'll do it if you want. And Adam Guy says, Andrew, it's 1905. You need to leave. You're right, Adam Guy. Old time gentleman. Thank you so much for modding, man. That was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your keeping it together, even in the face of my relative insanity. I hear Jess coming downstairs right now to tell me, hey, we need to get going.
It's really time to go.
And I need to put on deodorant, which I neglected to do this morning. So thank you guys so much for coming out. Everybody who's listening right now, everybody who's in the new official Babish Culinary Universe Discord channel. And there's Jess. Jess, say hi. We're just finishing up here. You look nice. Here, yeah, man. Thank you so much again. And Sawyer, I'll see you at dinner.
Thanks so much for coming, Babish.
All right, we'll see you at the next one.
And have fun at dinner.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thanks everyone for coming.